Here's why I think XCN really reminds me of XDC, even though nothing I say is financial advice. It's because, first of all, they're focused on the same market. For instance, Onyx, aka XCN, it's focused on global trade and finance, which is a market that is predicted to reach up to $5 trillion in value by 2028, according to Mordor Intelligence. And XDC, it's focused on that market too. Also, Onyx, it's focused on the payments market, which is currently valued at over $2 trillion. And XDC, it's focused on that as well. Not to mention, it's one of the few competitors, both of these projects, that are actually kind of being able to have some recognition beyond projects like Ripple and Stellar, which people often consider the staples within projects that are focused on global trade and finance and the payments market. Let me explain why. Traditionally, people think about XRP, they think about XLM. But everyone pretty much knows that. What are the other alternatives? People don't usually think about 20 or 30 major projects other than that because, quite simply put, I don't think that many reputable ones, at least to me it feels like, even really is known about that much. Like for instance, beyond XRP and XLM, there's XDC, which is arguably the number 3 within this space right now. But then number 4, arguably I would say is XCN. Number 5, maybe ZBCN. People could argue also ZBCN's number 4, but it's kind of give or take at this point. However, also there's Swiftcoin, there's XPR. That's not that many competitors. If we take a look at XCN, take a look at XDC, we take a look at ZBCN, Swiftcoin, XPR, they had attention like a little bit recently. You know what I mean? It's not like they had attention for many, many years. At least it feels like to me. It feels like it's a little bit recent, like in the past year or so or something like that in some cases where the attention really felt like it was there. So for quite a while, Ripple and Stellar were really just kind of viewed as, oh, those are the only 2 projects within the space that people care about. But now there's other ones that are starting to gain attention. So I feel like, actually, it's kind of crazy to think about how within this space, in terms of alternatives beyond XRP and XLM, it's still kind of relatively speaking new. So this is why I think XCN and as well as XDC is very similar in terms of how it reminds me of those projects, because yes, XCN has a lower market cap, but it reminds me of XDC in a sense where it's kind of viewed as an alternative beyond Ripple and Stellar. If let's say XCN went to the price of 25 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be around $8.5 billion, and it's around a 16x from here. When XDC, let's say, maybe goes to the price of $1, it's less than a 15x, right? Slightly around a 10x. So I get it. It's not like XDC maybe could hypothetically outperform XCN in terms of percentage price increase, but then at the same time, I like how around an $8.5 billion market cap doesn't feel like that unrealistic to me, because that's not even 10% of XRP's current market cap. And not to mention, around a 16x, I get it, some people may think, oh, it's kind of bad, but the way I view it is that, you know, is XRP doing around a 16x in the next 6 to 10 months? I wouldn't really believe in that. Don't get me wrong. I believe in XRP, but I don't think XRP could do that. I mean, it's already so massive. How can it reach a market cap of like, you know, nearly 2 trillion or something in the next 6 to 10 months? I just don't see that. So again, when people like to complain about this, I cannot speak on anyone's behalf, but it doesn't seem too bad in the grand scheme of things for me. I treat XDC and XCN sort of like my XRP and XLM, because usually people acquire XRP and XLM in tandem. They get XRP. Some others, they also choose XLM. Some people, they start off with XLM and then they also get XRP. But for me, the XRP here is a little bit like XDC and the XLM is a little bit like XCN. This is the way I view it. I like these 2 projects. I'm a big fan of them. However, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But personally for me, I do not know the exact moment in time things are going to peak or do this or do that. That is beyond my control. What I can do is just prepare for a moment in time in which maybe it does that, because I am not focused on knowing the exact moment in time in which something does a big move. Instead, I'm focused on the preparation. I'm focused on the journey, if that makes sense. It's like if I want to run a marathon, but then I don't know when the marathon is going to be available, what can I do? I can prepare. So for a moment in time in which there is that opportunity to run that marathon, I'll be prepared. So this is my mentality when it comes to just dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. That's pretty much it. I'm focused on preparation, and I believe in ZBCN, I believe in XCN, XPR, Swiftcoin, and as well as XDC. I'm really a big fan of these projects that are alternatives to XRP and XLM because we've seen how well they have done. Historically speaking, we've seen how well even XRP is doing right now. And even if just some of that trickles down into something like XCN and XDC, it would be something that I would be very happy for. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'll greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.